So today we want to talk about 360 Yield Saver and specifically how it relates to where that yield comes from, and then we can tie that back to return on investment as well. So when we look at 360 Yield Saver, what it is a gathering chain replacement for your corn head. So what we do here at 360 is we replace your OEM gathering chains and we add brushes to these. So on these chains there's a hook and a brush. So that brush is going to mount on that hook. It's going to have one screw that goes through it like you can see here. So at first glance, what we typically think of when we see yield savers is that we're covering that gap over top of the deck plate. So we definitely see a value in savings from that, but where the bulk of the savings comes from is the fact that we're actually cushioning that ear as it comes down before it hits those deck plates. So even as these brushes wear, as we start to see a gap between those brushes, we still get the value of that cushioning effect if we still have a bristle on there to help soften that blow. So some of the things that influence head loss are one, crop moisture, obviously, what the weather's like outside, whether there's a heavy dew or it's a 3 o'clock in the afternoon where the air is dry. All those things are going to matter when we start looking at head loss. But what we've seen with Yield Saver is regardless of what those different factors are, we can save about 85% of what you were losing without Yield Saver. So just for this example, we've checked a lot of different heads over the past several years, and a pretty typical head loss is about 2 bushels to the acre. So when we look at a square foot on the ground, that's going to be 4 kernels. So we know 2 kernels per square foot is going to equal a bushel. Typically what we see out of the head is about a 2 bushel loss. So when we start looking at an 85% savings, that's about 1.7 bushel to the acre that we're saving. So if we figure corn's at $6, 1.7 bushels at $6 is about $10 an acre. $10,200 an acre. So we start looking at a 1,000-acre farmer. If we can take $10 per acre over that 1,000 acres, that's $10,000 that we're saving in year one. So most of our Yield Saver chains are going to run anywhere from $650 to $750 per row. So 8 row head, we're looking at about a $5,200 investment, and we put in our pocket in year one $5,000 essentially. So we start looking at the return on investment of Yield Saver. It's one of the products that we have that just immediately makes sense from that standpoint. So after year one, we've already doubled our investment in savings. So it may be time to replace our brushes. In order to replace the brushes, it's just one screw on each lug. We pop the brush off, put new ones on. We're going to look at about half the total cost of the Yield Savers to replace those brushes. So where we were $650 before, we're going to be at about $325 per row to replace those brushes. So we just ran our own example, but we encourage you to go visit 360ROIcalculators.com, click on the Yield Saver link, and punch in your own number. So whether you're an 800-acre farmer or a 3,000-acre farmer, we encourage you to do that math and see how Yield Savers can pay you back on your farm.